just got for eating, and you can start that. Like I've been here for a couple of hours.
Right. All right, we're live.
All right.
All right, I wait for my viewership to increase a little bit. Let's see, we got 4 already. This is great. That's right off the bat. All right. You know what tonight is? It's Angie's Angles, and we have the most amazing guest, Coach Dom Scala, live at Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. All right, I'm going to get it going. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Angie's Angles. We've got Coach Scala. Thank you so much, Coach, for showing up tonight. I really appreciate it. We just finished an hour-and-a-half dinner at BLD's, the best wings you ever want to have. If you're ever in Ronkonkoma, go to BLD's. The best. Let me tell you something. So I'm hearing myself echoing on the big screen in the lounge. It's pretty funny. We're making, hey, Nick, what's going on? How are you, brother? How you doing? So we're going to jump right into it. Coach Scala was kind enough to join us at dinner. This is the annual Angie's Angles Wings, Bourbon, and Cigar Night. I want to thank my friends from the Smoke Lounge and my other friends from my circle for joining us. It's always nice to hook up with everybody, say Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate. So we're going to jump right into it with Coach Scala. Thank you again for being here, Coach. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Had a great night.
So we're going to jump right into the Met Yankee because, of course, Coach Scala represents the Yankees. And guys and girls, you won't hear me say the S word in terms of the Yankees, right? This is out of respect for Coach Scala.
I won't hold it against them tonight.
Right, okay. So we got the Met-Yankee rivalry here. Although Coach let me in on a little secret. He roots for the Mets.
Yes, I do.
And I said to Coach, I apologize. I can't say the same back. I apologize. I'm humbled. I just can't do it. You know,
I hear that a lot.
I got 2 teams I root for. Who the Mets and whoever's playing the Yankees.
Well, Ange, I'm a baseball purist. I'm a baseball coach. I'm a baseball guy. I was happy that the Mets were in the playoffs. They were very exciting last year. And I'll tell you the truth, I think they're going to be good again this year. I really do. I think they improved. They improved a lot.
So let's jump into that topic, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So the big ugly elephant in the room is the Juan Soto acquisition by the New York Mets. He gave the Yankees 1 year, solid year. He had a phenomenal season. Cannot undermine the season the guy had. And he was one of the few Yankees that showed up in the postseason. So kudos to Juan Soto. But this guy, as you all know, if you're a loyal Angie's Angles watcher, I didn't want Soto. I think he's overpriced, overhyped. And he had the immortal Aaron Judge protecting him in that lineup. Mm-hmm. And currently, I'm not really warm and fuzzy who we have in the Met lineup to protect them.
Okay. So let me just say this to you. You guys got a great president and general manager in David Stearns there. And, his biggest thing when he was with Milwaukee, he was able to get some guys and surround some of the stars that they had with some of these low-quality guys that had great years. So I think that you guys getting Juan Soto and spending that $50 million, and listen, Juan Soto's a great player. Come on, let's not mince meat here. He makes any team better, And I don't care about what they say about the defense and all that. That's just one part of his game. Besides the offense, he brings to the team an aura. I think that he brought that aura to the Yankees, and he's going to bring that aura to the Mets. And I think David Stearns is not done yet. I think Steve Cohen is not done yet. I think they're going to get Pete Alonso back. I really do. Now, Pete's not going to get that 6-year deal. He might get a 2 or 3 year deal. He may even get a 1 year deal and then go back on the market again and see what he can do next year. Because if he has a great year, he's going to be one of the top guys next year to get that contract. And there have been many guys that have done that 1-year deal.
So,
Okay.
yeah, sure. So I understand that, right? But Pete, in my opinion, I don't think Pete's got the mental capacity to handle the pressure, because I think Pete tried his hardest for the Mets. I think he wanted to do well with the Mets, but I think Pete tried too hard, and that led to his lowest career year so far.
Do you know what his average is in the last 6 years? 36 homers, 112 RBIs.
No, I listen.
And a 245 batting average. I'll take that.
No, and I've spit
There's
those
not
numbers
many
out.
guys that can do that.
I've spit those numbers out ad nauseum, Coach. But the problem is, and like I said, this is what I don't understand with the Mets concept, right? Mm-hmm. If you just take the power numbers that Pete's produced since coming into the majors and match them against Bryce Harper and Juan Soto, Pete's on top in the power department.
Yeah, but you can't get Bryce Harper.
Right.
He's with Philadelphia.
No, right.
So you got to get the next best thing.
Sure, but
and you got to get somebody to protect Soto.
Right.
And I think that in the long run, the way it's going right now with the negotiations and other teams, I just have a feeling that Pete wants to come back to the Mets. I really do. Because he sees he's got Soto in there, and he's got McNeil, and he's got the other guys.
And Lindor.
I mean, I think that he might take either a 1-year deal or a 3-year deal, and
the annual average salary.
Yeah.
If we give him, so we already offered him
75.
Well,
give him 75 for 3 years, $25 million a year.
Well, we offered him 390.
390.
3 years, 90 million.
Oh, 3 years at 90 million.
Right. That's
and
30. And Boris said no.
But that was in.
That was very recently.
That was early before the holidays.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So now it's getting a little bit dicey now.
Right. Right.
You don't want to not go to spring training.
Right.
Because you see what the guys do when they don't go to spring training. They usually have a bad year.
Right.
And he don't want to do that.
Right.
So I see him signing with somebody within the next couple of weeks.
Hey, the logic makes sense, right, Coach, what you're saying, 100%.
Yeah.
Pete's got to sign because, you know, he runs the risk of stepping off the curb the wrong way, twisting an ankle. He doesn't have the guaranteed money locked up yet.
Right.
He's looking for his future. I get it. And I think Scott Boras, just making a comparison to Prince Fielder, who signed a 9-year, $200-and-something million contract all those years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's even bringing that up, because Fielder played only on 2 years of that contract before he went south.
Let me tell you something, though. Fielder, when he signed that contract, the numbers that he had. Do you know he had a 370 on base percentage, where Pete Alonso's only got about 330?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Pete Alonso doesn't walk much.
Right.
64 walks, where he had 117 walks in those years.
Right.
In that last year of his contract. That's been getting on base another 80 times for somebody.
Sure.
Okay. So that's a big thing that people don't realize. On base percentage, to me, is a big thing.
Sure.
When I was coaching at Adelphi, I looked at on-base percentage and slugging. But on-base percentage, if my teams were 350 to 360, I'm scoring runs. And
let's talk about the scoring runs, right? So the Mets pitching staff, we signed Piniella.
Love it.
Okay,
I think they needed to do that.
Sure.
They needed to do that.
We signed Piniella. We've got Senga coming back from his injury.
Mm-hmm.
We got Peterson, who had an amazing year last year. We've got, we got a couple of guys like McGill, Blackburn, we signed Frankie Montas. Tell me about Frankie Montas.
You know what? I think they're just taking a chance with him because, Montas was with Milwaukee when David Stearns he got him. And he did a pretty good job for him. Even though he had like a 5 ERA, he liked the way he threw the ball. He wasn't worrying about his numbers. Sometimes general managers and scouts don't worry about numbers, especially a guy who came off an injury, because they know what he did previous to that. So I think that's going to help them. I'm not sure what he's going to do, but I'm going to tell you something. There's some viable arms out there that they can get, like the Pavettas, guys like Pavetta from the
Flaherty's still from the Dodgers is still out there, right?
You might be able to get him a little cheaper.
The
for
Japanese
1 year.
kid.
The Japanese kid is it? I think the Japanese kid might go to the West Coast because I think Japanese guys, they like to stay on the West Coast. It's a little closer to Japan,
right?
Sure. And the warm weather,
sure.
They like that warm weather,
right? So, let me just say hi to everybody that's logged on. Clark, Harold, Lonnie, Wahoo, Nick Triano, thanks, Johnny Belvedere, Brett Milletta downloading it in from the Philippines. I am Intercontinental. Eric Floyd, thank you very much, my friend. So anyway, we're focusing right now on the Met Yankee matchup in terms of they signed Max Fried to an 8-year contract.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, here's what I think about pitching and free agent contracts. There's always a window where you got to give at least 2 years free. Okay? People don't realize that, but when you're trying to get one of your top guys that it's on the market and you want to keep them away from somebody else, you got to give at least 2 years, maybe 3 of a mediocre season. Okay?
You have to accept that, okay.
What they're looking for is him to come in next year and the year after that and give them big innings.
Okay.
Because they're looking to win now, not 6 years from now.
Sure. That makes sense.
That's what happens with – listen, I've been around the game a long time.
Yes, absolutely.
I've seen it. They're looking for now. The same thing with Soto. Let me just say something about Soto's contract. That contract's really a 5-year deal.
Okay.
How do I know this? Okay, well, he can opt out after 5 years. So, in 5 years, if he's doing well, okay, he's going to opt out of that contract because then he's going to get more.
Okay.
Okay. So the Mets now are going to say, okay, where are we here? Okay. Did we win any championships? They can opt out of that too.
Okay.
After 5 years.
Well, so right. So the deal is
they don't have to pay him the 55.
Right. So the deal is at 5 years, Juan Soto's got the opt out, but the Mets also have the ability to say we're going to give you $3 more million a year and you stay.
Yeah, but they don't have to.
They don't have to.
And if they don't, he's a free agent.
That's correct, Coach.
So it's only really a 5-year deal in my eyes.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You know what I mean?
You're not wrong.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Now, Fried's a pretty good pitcher. Okay.
If he's healthy.
Yeah, and he's been healthy the last couple of years. Okay. Now, he had a few problems before that.
Right.
I'm sure they checked him out, all that stuff. You know what I mean? And the guy throws 92, 93, but because of his off-speed stuff, and he pitches up in the zone, he's kind of like more like 94, 95. He's a little sneaky fast.
Like Sid Fernandez, sneaky fast.
Sid
Fernandez, and he's underrated
and
pitcher.
He's got great control.
Okay.
He's got great control, too.
Well,
and he's a great fielder.
Right.
He covers his position. He can get to first base, which is a big thing. You know about that cover first base stuff.
Yeah, let's ask who was that? Garrett Cole.
Yeah, that changed the whole outcome.
Oh my goodness, that was that and
what do you think about that? What do you think? Well, who do you think was in the wrong there?
Cole, 100%.
Cole, I think it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
Now, being a coach, we work on that play all the time.
Sure.
Once a week, we work on our PFPs all the time. Okay. Now, the rule of thumb is ground ball. The pitcher's got to go until the first baseman says, I got it. He never said, I got it.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
Because he kind of like Rizzo thought he was going to get there.
Correct.
So he kind of like surrounded the ball and waited for it.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And he was caught off surprise. But you know what the biggest key with that play was? Mookie Betts running down the line hard.
Okay.
Do you think Gleyber Torres would have been running down the line hard on that play right there?
A lot of players wouldn't be running hard. Correct. That's right. I agree with you.
So that was a perfect storm in my eyes.
Okay, I understand
that
what you're saying.
That was a perfect storm. It really was.
Jerry Lennon from Adelphi says hi, Coach.
Hey, what's up, Jerry? Nice to How's everything, Jerry?
Mark Brooks, my brother from another mother, has just signed on. Thank you for. Hey, Mark Alberti. No, Danny hung up his cleats. Mark, sadly enough, he's not playing at St. Joe's. But that's another story for another day.
That's right.
So I have a question, Coach.
Go ahead.
What's your opinion of the players of yesteryear? Are they bitter towards today's players in regards to the contracts and the expectations?
Well, you know what? I don't think they're bitter towards the contracts because the players of yesteryear, they're the ones that started all of this thing. I can remember back with Catfish Hunter. He was the first real free agent, okay? You know what he signed for? 5 years, $3.5 million, and that was a big contract back then.
That's incredible.
$700,000 a year.
That's incredible.
What would he get now?
Right.
Catfish Hunter.
And that was 50 years ago, right, Coach?
Catfish Hunter was a magician on the mound, okay? Catfish Hunter told me something that I always stuck in my mind, and I told my pitchers in college when I was in college. What that was I tried not to throw the same pitch twice, the same speed.
Okay.
To keep guys off balance.
Okay.
But getting back to your question with the guys of yesterday, there are some guys that are bitter. I mean, we know that. There's guys, saying like guys like Goose Gossage. That's well documented. We all know that.
Right.
That's well documented. And he's not really mad at the money that they're making, but he's mad at the way the game has evolved with this one inning pitcher, you know? Now, let me just say this, and me and Goose are very good friends. Okay, we're very, very good friends. And I've told him this. I said, Goose, the only thing that's constant in this world is change. And with all the new rules that are going on, and there's some that are good and there's many that are bad, you have to learn that that's the way it is today. But he won't accept it, and some guys do not accept it.
Me and Goose Gossage could be buddies because I don't accept it.
Yeah.
I was telling Coach early at dinner that, God forbid, I'm not wishing any harm on Rob Manfred, but if he comes up injured in the dark alley, I'm going to have a knock on my door because I'm well documented on my hatred for Rob Manfred and what he's bastardized the game. I mean, for God's sakes, we've run through the gamut of my distaste and displeasure of what they've done to this game.
I do like that they got rid of the shift.
Okay,
we can agree. That's something that had to be done.
But the two disengagements, the ghost run. Now here's the deal, right? The ghost runner, but it's not live in the playoffs. So why is it live in the regular season?
They're trying to speed the game up. But let me say this to you. What about when they got to go to the replays and they spend 5 minutes?
5 minutes, and then they get the replay wrong.
I don't know about getting it wrong.
Oh, they get it wrong all the time. But they still
spend 3 to 5 minutes on most of these things. So they are not speeding up the game in my eyes.
So Harold, we're going to have you lead the chant. Here we go. Rob Manfred hates baseball. Rob Manfred hates baseball. Rob Manfred hates baseball ad nauseum. For God's sakes, that's a little thing we do. Yeah, it's a little thing we do, Coach. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So
I got a great story if you'd like to hear it about Catfish Hunter.
Sure.
Catfish Hunter in the '78 World Series, he happened to have a really good second half for us, after he hurt his arm, and then they did some crazy thing to him in the training room. I saw it myself. They had to break the adhesions in his arm because of the surgery that he had. He wasn't throwing well before that, and they actually reversed his arm, and you can hear the adhesions cracking when he was on the training table.
Oh my God!
But after that, he had a very good season.
So he regained flexibility.
He gained a little more flexibility and a little more strength. So in the '78 World Series, Game 6. He was the starting pitcher and won the game, if you remember.
Okay.
We're walking out to the bullpen, him and I, and he says to me, "Hey, Disco," he said to me, that's what they call me, Disco Dom. He said, I got a ticket for tomorrow morning. I'm going home to North Carolina. I'm going to start hunting. I said, wait a minute. I said, this is only Game 6. If we lose, it could be Game 7. He goes, I'm not losing tonight. and he didn't lose. He went 7 strong innings, and then Goose went the next 2.
Listen, you guys all know my affinity towards the Yankees, but this gentleman to my right, the volume of knowledge that he brings to the table, not only through the Yankees, but he was a scout for the Pirates, right?
Correct.
Who else?
4 years. No, it was 4-year advanced scout, major league scout with Jimmy Leland.
Okay, for the Pirates, for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
A Delphi coach brought him to the championship games.
18 years at Delphi.
18 years.
We won three championships and just missed the College World Series twice.
Okay.
We also won 18 straight one year. 18 straight games. We were number 4 in the nation. No Delphi team ever went that high.
Yep.
So we had some good years. We had some great players, and we developed. You know what? I'm all about development. I had guys that used to come in to our team, and they threw 82, 83 miles an hour, but they had a curveball, a breaking ball that they can get over the plate at any given time. So if you can get a curveball over 2-0 rather than throw a fastball and get ripped, now you're keeping guys off balance, okay? And then with our development, our program, by the time their senior year comes around, they're throwing 90, 90, 93. So I was very proud of that. I was very proud of that. I had great coaching staffs. I had some great pitching coaches, okay, through the years. And we had a great camaraderie with those teams. And I never told anybody this, and I'm going to tell you now. When I first came over to Adelphi in 2003, I brought the Yankee aura, I brought the Yankee history, I brought the Yankee tradition to Adelphi. We used to travel. When we traveled and went to Florida, we went in jacket and tie, okay? When we went on the bus, team bus, no jeans. You had to wear something at Delphi or a collared shirt, or you had a Delphi suit on. That's what I brought, some discipline, and you need discipline. People want discipline.
And that's what's lacking in today's society, right, is the discipline.
Yes.
Even with my children, that I try to preach that to them. The work ethic, right? Accountability, being accountable for yourself and your actions. Let's jump into another question.
Yeah, sure.
So Andrew Friedman and the Dodgers and the Dodger brand, he's done a lot of improvising.
Yes, he has.
Right?
Give him a lot of credit.
On getting a lot of these players. Ohtani's contract. Yamamoto, taking them from the Mets. That the Mets were favored to get Yamamoto.
Yep. And
as it turns out, I'm happy we didn't. He spit the bit a little bit.
Yamamoto? Oh, very good pitcher.
But what do you think about what Andrew Freeman's done?
Well, he's a genius, I think, in my mind. You know what I mean? He gets a lot of these guys to accept making a couple of $1 million now, and he's deferring a lot of money on the back end of it.
And you think that's good for baseball?
I think any way that you can that you can get guys to come to your team, okay, it's all on them and their agents. They wouldn't approve that stuff. Like the Yankees don't do that stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Or some of the people that they've dealt with, they don't do that stuff. But I give him a lot of credit, Andrew Friedman. And I'm going to tell you something. The Dodger brand, okay, is as good as any brand in sports today. I mean, look, they got beautiful weather out there.
Right.
They've got so much going on for them. They really do.
They have the fan base. The location. They got the international name. Mike.
Mike, you have a lighter?
I do.
Thank you.
So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. But you're almost robbing Peter to pay Paul, right?
Yes.
So and you're gonna have to
Yeah, you got
yeah,
it.
you're gonna have to eventually pony up the money, and who knows if the Dodgers are still going to be owned by that ownership in 10 years.
Well, that's what I'll give you an example. When I used to give scholarships out, And, sometimes, most of the time you do the right thing. You give guys X amount of dollars and it pans out. Sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Okay. And you see that now with so many contracts. But you got to remember something. It's not his money. It's the team's. And if they falter, well, then your job is on the line. You know what I mean? But in order to get a championship team, caliber team, year after year, like the Dodgers are year after year, is that you need players. Now, like I said, David Stern does it a different way. He does it with some superstars, and then he brings in these other guys for like $10 million, $8 million, and he gets the most out of them. What about Willie Adames?
Right.
Did you ever think that guy was going to be, when he got traded from the Rays, and then they had Franco, of course.
Right,
that's why they brought Franco in, which was a mistake.
A disaster,
okay?
right.
But Adames goes to Milwaukee, and now he got $160 million.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And there was other guys like that.
Right.
Williams, who just went to the Yankees.
Right.
Let's talk about the Yankees a little bit and what they did this offseason. Do you realize they got 4 guys, they got 4 pieces to their puzzle for about $60 million, where Soto got $50 million.
Right.
One guy.
One piece of the
One
puzzle.
guy.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, who's to say that these guys are going to do well? But on paper, they look pretty good. On paper, they look pretty good.
It's a fair point, and that brings us up to the riddle of Pete Alonso. Like Pete Alonso, in my opinion, and I said this earlier, why Pete was going through the contract thing. I said I thought 7 years, 210 was the number to get it done. And I said before the general manager meetings in December, go to Pete and Boris, 7 years, 210. If they say no, now you know how you have to pivot, because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
but
Terry, how are you?
I realize that. I don't think that David Stern wanted to give him 7 years.
Right. They don't want to give him 5 years.
The most they wanted to give him was 3 years.
Right.
Okay.
But he's earned it though, right? He's a prodigious power hitter. Like you spit out the numbers.
But they just spent $50 million on one guy.
But you're talking about Andrew Friedman, right? Being creative. So why aren't they able to be creative with Pete Alonso?
Maybe they could have, but maybe they don't want that.
Right.
I don't know the insides of that.
Right.
Maybe Boris didn't want that with Pete Alonso.
And let's get to Boris, right? Boris last year had a really shitty off season.
Mm-hmm.
All his guys had to wait until May to sign.
Yeah, and you see what happened. They all They all
signed for quote unquote pennies on the dollar. I mean, we're talking about millions of dollars.
Well, they got 24. Let's say Montgomery, we got $25 million. However,
1 year deal.
1 year deal.
Right.
Oh, well, he actually got 2 year deal.
Okay.
All right. But however, he had a shitty year.
Right. Martinez got signed for a 1 year deal.
They had bad years because they had no spring training.
Right.
Spring training is very important. And that brings me to another subject. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a study saying that most pitchers are getting hurt early in the season nowadays. You know why? Because they're coming into spring training throwing 95. In other words, the first game out there, you're seeing guys throwing 95.
Right.
Okay. That shouldn't be.
Right.
I'm sorry. I see kids. I get stuff on Instagram, being an ex-coach and a coach, still a coach. I get people that tag me with different things. I'm friends with different organizations. And I see these guys in January 6th, I saw it. Guy, and they had the gun out. And I'm saying, what the hell is this guy got a gun out? Oh, 92. It's January the 6th. It's January the 6th. You shouldn't be throwing 92 miles an hour on January. And that's why people are getting hurt now.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. And I kind of have like this little thing on my podcast, Nimmo sucks, #Nimmo sucks, Brandon Nimmo, right? And it started off where I'm a frustrated baseball player myself. I play center field growing up and whatnot. And
you have your opinion.
And I said, I said when we re-signed Nimmo for that money, first of all, I thought it was way too much money for a Nimmo. And I said, he's not a center fielder and he's not a leadoff hitter. and I was proven right. The Mets proved me right by moving him out of center field and taking him out of the leadoff spot because he's not a leadoff hitter.
So
Brandon
there's
Nimmo,
a guy. There's a guy that they paid because of his past.
right?
You know what I mean?
And he was
But
another.
he's not a bad hitter.
Listen, Brandon Nimmo is a great
hitter.
ball player. My son Danny wants to put him into
What did
the,
I
into
tell
the Hall
you
of
about?
Fame.
What did I tell you about the 160 million and like how many years did he get?
8 years. Yeah, 20 million a year.
They gave him 3 years for
Right.
free.
Yeah, you're right, Coach. You're not wrong about that. Let's get a couple more stories in before we introduce our next guest.
Yep.
What can you tell us about Yogi Berra in Baltimore?
Oh wow, that's a good one. So I actually have a picture with Billy Martin, myself in the middle, and Yogi on my right, and we're in Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, circa 1983 or something like that, 1982, and it's a rain delay, and it's about 6:30. The rain's coming down, and we're in the dugout, and we're talking, the three of us, and Billy is telling me why he played Oscar Gamble tonight rather than Roy White or whoever it was at the time. All of a sudden, Phil Pepe, remember Phil Pepe from the Daily News?
Right, sure.
All right, he comes up the runway, and what happens in those days, reporters were allowed to stay in the dugout until they said, we're going to take the tarp off the field. Then they got to get out.
Okay.
So it was still raining pretty good. Phil Pepe comes out. Now we're all talking in the amongst each other about different things. Phil Pepe's laughing. He always had a cup of coffee and a cigarette in his hand. Phil Pepe. All of a sudden, Phil Pepe says, "Hey Yogi, you think it's going to stop raining?" And Yogi goes, "It always does." So that's a Yogiism that a lot of people don't know. So now Billy Martin are looking at each other like the Aflac duck. That's where that Aflac duck commercial came in at that
funny.
time. Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yeah,
Rayu says hello from Adelphi.
Good man.
He wants to say hello to you, Coach. So give Rayu a little
Ray?
shout. How you doing, brother? We're gonna do the prayer circle real quick. Then I'm gonna turn it over to Coach Scala to introduce our next guest. Chris, you'll sit over here. My child, get up, okay? So,
you want to say some things about Chris? We got Chris Vaccaro here from the Italian American Baseball Foundation. We're on the executive board together. Chris is a very knowledgeable guy, not only in sports, but one of the founding guys in the IABF, and he really knows his stuff. And he's going to come on, and we're going to talk a little bit about the IABF and what we do for kids mostly, and what the foundation is about. So I invited Chris to come over.
Sure, absolutely, 100%.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%. Before we go into the prayer circle, before I turn it over to Coach and Chris, my son Danny, and you guys all followed along Danny's road to the show, right? Danny's baseball acumen, sure. I taught him his swing. I taught him this. I taught him that. But as soon as he was age eligible, he attended Dom Scala baseball camp. And that was the best thing to happen to that kid. He learned a ton of baseball knowledge, IQ from Coach Scala and his staff. So if you're local, if you have a kid, male, female, don't matter, sign them up to Dom Scala baseball camp. You will not regret it. I'm not saying that because we're friends. I would let you know, if it was good. Danny benefited to the nines for attending the camp.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd just like to say a little something about that. We have our winter camp coming up in Storm Academy on January 25th. It's an 8-week program. And what I do is my winter program is designed for 8 weeks. We work on all the fundamentals of the game, hitting, fielding, throwing, catching, all that type of stuff. We have different drills and things like that. We have fun doing it. But the most important thing, what I want to do with these clinics and camps, and I have one in the summer, which Danny attended, is the camaraderie. We want them to understand the game, and we want them to be friends with other people. We want them to have good sportsmanship. And listen, everybody can't win all the time, and you got to learn to lose. But there are things that you can learn when you lose, which is very, very important. So if you'd like to come to my winter camp, it leads you right up to the spring season, 8 weeks, right up to the spring season, Storm Academy, domscalabaseball.com. We'd love to have you. I have a few spots left in the camp. I also have one in Queens at RPM Baseball in Maspeth, Queens. And the other one is at Storm Academy in Hempstead, right by Delphi University.
Okay. I think you might know this guy, J. Cal 13. He says, hey, Coach, I played for Coach Davies in the early 90s. You took what he built and continued to improve the program at doing it Delphi way. AU just hasn't been the same since you left.
Thank you very much.
That's one from a fan. Right.
It happens.
So we're just going to run through the prayer circle, then I'll turn it over. So today we're praying for – Lonnie wants us to pray for his new puppy, Gracie, 8-week-old pup who was found to have parasites. The puppy's on meds. We hope Gracie gets better. Big John, we're praying for Phil's Nona, Irene, and Richie, and your cousin Richie. Johnny Barbecue, we're praying for your mom recovering from the flu. Tom, we're praying for Paul and Janet going through cancer treatments. John Jordan, we're praying for Samantha and Kurt, expecting a child with a high birthing. They did in vitro, and it's a high dangerous pregnancy, but everything is on pace. And John, it's your first grandchild, so congratulations. John, we're praying for Elizabeth. John, we're praying for your father-in-law. Coach Scala wants to give a prayer out to Robin in California. And while we're talking about California, we're going to pray for all the people, all the citizens of California with what's going on out there. It's just absolutely insane if you saw the pictures. Harold, we're praying for Dawn Squared, your wife and your co-worker. Scott Tobias, we're praying for your wife and mom. Linda Stein, young lady, we're praying for your dad and yourself. Good luck with your hand surgery on Tuesday. Mark Brooks, we're praying for your dad and yourself. Kevin Elliott, my buddy down in Florida, we're praying that you get better. Kraus family, we're praying for Aubrey as she fights the ugly C word and remains in remission. And Darcy, we're praying for your foot recovery. Clark, we're praying for your brother-in-law Brad and your sister Tricia and yourself, young man. Deb and Lee down in Maryland, we're praying for you. Marianne Bello out in Las Vegas, we're praying for your mom. Larry Levy, we're praying for your wife Frida as she progresses through her cancer treatments. And the last time we spoke, things are looking positive. My Aunt Pat down in Florida, she is on home hospice. We're praying for you. And Mr. McGowan, Jim McGowan from Adelphi.
Oh.
Jim suffered a stroke. He's in rehab right now. He's also battling the C word, and we're praying for him. Also want to make a mention that that Dom Scala is on the Arthur Dalla Power Hour. 97 a.m. from 6 to 7. He's got a weekly spot with Arthur Dalla, the famed defense lawyer. So we want to wish Dom and Arthur good luck on that show.
Thank you.
So I'm going to stand up. Chris, come over here. We're going to introduce Chris Vaccaro. Coach Scala will give you all the information about that.
Thank you, Ange.
Right.
I think that's a great thing that Ange does with this prayer hour. That's really, really nice, Angel. Hey, what's up, Chris?
How we doing?
Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you. Happy to be here.
All right.
Right in the old backyard.
Yeah. You live right down the block, right?
Yeah, I'm 5 minutes away in Lake
That's
Grove.
great. Well, that's what I figured. I said, let me call Chris, see if he wants to come on and talk a little bit about our wonderful foundation. I mean, listen, Joe Quagliano, Carmine, Joe, Natalie, you, me, all the guys that are there, all the people that help us out through the year. I just joined, the organization, and I'm so honored to be part of it because of all the great things that we do. And I want Chris to there's no better guy here that knows about the foundation than Chris, and I want him to explain some of the things that we do, some of the great the dinners and the cigar parties and the golf outings, all that stuff through the year. Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you right now.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's a 501c3, but I think it's really one of the most unique sports nonprofits in the world for what we do as a connective tissue to baseball in Italy.
Right.
We're all Italian American. We all love baseball, but we actually have the really beautiful fortune of trying to grow baseball in Italy, and we do it in partnership with the Federation of Italian Baseball and Softball.
Great stuff.
So we have events here across really the New York tri-state area, but across America, because there's a lot of things that we do to raise funds and exposure and awareness for the fact that our American pastime is beloved way beyond the borders of our country. And there are kids that should learn how to play the game that we all love. And so we raise funds for scholarships. We help Italians get into colleges across the country to play baseball and softball.
Yes.
We do scholarships for Italian Americans as well. You know,
Mhm.
obviously, if you're born here, and you know, I'm a third generation, and my children are fourth generation, our love and passion for the game is equal to the little kids growing up in Tuscany and Rome and Milan. So it was Carmine and Joe's brainchild.
Right.
People like us
They
get
do a
on
lot of
board and
work.
help.
They do a lot of work.
Their vision came to fruition in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you make something grow? It's money. It's fundraising. So it's a really big gala. 450 people now.
Tell them a little bit about our gala this past December. What a great, 450 people?
450
Tell them
2 years in a row.
about some of the guests that we had there.
Yeah, this past year we honored the Commissioner of Baseball. I know you just heard you talking about Rob Manfred. We love Rob Manfred. He's Italian American. You know, he's really proud of his Italian roots.
Joe Torre introduced them.
Joe Torre comes in, introduces him. We have Dave Rigetti, your old teammate there,
Yeah.
being honored.
Yeah.
We had Samuel Aldegheri, who this is a beautiful, incredible story.
This is a good story.
Yeah, he's
First MLB player, right?
first Italian born, raised, developed pitcher in Major League Baseball history out of Verona, Italy, the home of Romeo and Juliet. He made his Major League debut in September for the Angels, and he's one of the top prospects in the organization.
I was in the amphitheater in Verona.
Exactly.
And this was a while ago, and I saw an opera in there. Open air, beautiful place. What a beautiful. Listen, Italy, I just got back from there in July. What a beautiful, beautiful country. I mean, there's nothing like it to me. I mean, I know Greece is beautiful and France and all, but to me, you know, Italy, unbelievable. Go ahead.
Yep. So Samuel was there being honored. There was a handful, you know, of people that really have great connections to the game who have done different things. We honor people in media. We honor an executive. So we honored somebody from MLB International who does media rights, Don Balsamo. Yeah, just a really great group, diverse backgrounds and careers, and everybody's Italian American.
And what about the people who come, right?
A
lot of Brooklyn people.
A lot of Brooklyn people. Carmine's got the entire borough in support of him and you, man. And you know, it's a really big growing interest group. You know, it's almost at this point we're a consortium for anybody who loves being Italian and likes sports. Because not only do we really the only people that do this in baseball, nobody does this in any sport like we do.
Right.
And we've been told by the people at Major League Baseball and by the Federation of Italian Baseball, there's nobody like us. There's nobody trying to make the game better in a separate country, but also do it because of our ethnic roots there. And so it's great.
I'm going to tell you something. You know, like I said, I just joined the organization. I've been involved with the organization for about 3 years now, and they were gracious enough to put me on the executive board, and I'm very honored about that. I really am. But the reason why I accepted is because of the passion that they all have. Every one of the people that are on the board, and also Frank Catalan. I didn't mention Frank Catalanano, who is also one of the board members and the coach of Hofstra. Just a first-rate guy, a class guy, and he's going to be inducted into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Am I correct?
He
and
is.
You guys and we were inducted into
listen,
me, but them.
Well, you were inducted prior.
I was inducted prior, but you guys were inducted this year in the New York State Baseball. Did you ever think you were going to be in the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame?
I did not deserve to be in that. You know, I mean, listen, I have a background in sports media, and I have a really interesting career and a lot of things, a lot of interests, a lot of hats that I have in the community.
Yeah,
I'm actually in the Long Island Journalism Hall of Fame.
You're with Sachem. You do a lot of stuff with Sachem High School.
I run
right?
all of the Sachem Alumni Association, the Educational Foundation, our
Right.
Hall of Fame.
Right.
Very busy. But to stand up there and accept New York State Baseball Hall of Fame induction on behalf of IABF, explaining to a room of 700 people,
did a great job there.
What we are, and I say this all the time. it's very difficult to explain unless you feel this. But when you have a connection to who you are through your roots, through the country of the ancestors that came here with an incredible vision of just having a dream, and we are the product of that, we are living their dream, it's very powerful. I really have I always explain that we're doing this because, yes, we really love baseball, but we are Italian American,
Sure.
and nothing means more than that.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Tell us about some of the other events that we have.
We have a golf outing.
We have a golf outing. Go ahead.
Yeah, we do the golf.
The golf outing is very good.
It's getting better and better. We got Carmine's Pizza Truck now at the golf outing.
Yeah. That's a nice addition.
Yeah, we're at near 100 golfers now too. It's getting up there.
And we also have a lot of fun.
Well, we do because everyone gets along.
We have a lot of fun with this stuff. We also have cigar party.
We have a cigar dinner. That's usually in the summer. The golf outing is usually in the fall.
Right.
We obviously have the gala, which is in December. The other thing that I do is coordinate all the Italian heritage games across Major League Baseball.
Oh, that's a big thing. Explain that.
Yeah, I just spent the last 72 hours reaching out to all 30 Major League teams again, like I always do. So, you hear groups and theme nights at Major League stadiums that might be like Star Wars night or, Hispanic Heritage Night, and there's bobblehead night.
And bring your dog to the park.
Bring your dog to the park night.
Yeah.
There's also Italian Heritage Night, and it's not something that is always on the front burner. So I go out of my way to reach out to marketing, promotions, ticket services, sales, and I said, hey, listen, we're a powerful organization that continues to grow. The money that we could raise from these games could go right to our scholarship fund, and dozens of teams have worked with us.
How many kids get scholarships? We give out how much money and how many kids get scholarships each year at the dinner that we have?
It has gone up every year from 3 to 10 to over 15 student
there was
athletes.
Like 15 this year, right?
15 student athletes, yeah.
And people can.
The scholarship application is open right now.
It's open right on the website.
Yeah.
Right?
So right now, go to iabf.foundation. You'll see the word scholarships at the top bar. If you're a high school baseball player that wants to play college baseball or softball, you are eligible. And you could also be at, say, a JUCO or a D2 and need money and already be in college. You're also eligible.
I'm glad you said softball too, because that's
Very
important to us too.
Very important.
The girls, they're great. I mean, I don't know what her name is, but she gave a dynamite speech.
Isabella Cimino.
Yeah, she gave a great speech at the dinner.
She was one of our recipients, not this past year, but the year before. She's
Right.
a Division I softball player at Florida Atlantic University.
Uh-huh.
She's out of Long Island, actually.
Yeah.
And we also had sent her on a trip to Italy through NIAF,
Yes.
the National Italian American Foundation, who's one of our partners.
Yes.
They have a Voyage of Discovery trip, kind of
Yes.
like Birthright for Jewish people.
Yeah.
So we were able to partner on that for her.
Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully, it's before my camps this year. I'm looking forward to possibly going to Italy this year with the IABF and doing some clinics over there.
We're planning actively now what that'll look
With
like.
Cervelli, right?
With Cervelli. So we have last fall, we opened what is the Francisco Cervelli IABF Academy in Castiglione della Pescaia, which is on the west coast of Italy. It's in Tuscany, about an hour and a half north of Rome.
He was a Yankee catcher.
He was the Yankee catcher on the Pirates.
Right.
He's half Venezuelan, half Italian. Very, very passionate about being an Italian. His family's from Puglia, from Bari, and we have a facility. We have a few people that help run that. Marco Mazzeri, who just became elected as the president of the Federation of Italian Baseball. Great guy. He was the brainchild behind it, and obviously Francisco is the lead clinician, and his name is behind it. But there's a lot of other people. Deb and Gianni and these people that run it, the day-to-day operations. Right. Students train there. Student athletes.
I should also mention John Franco. He's a big part of this.
John has not missed an event. He's always at our events.
Yeah, Johnny Franco is a great guy, regular guy. He helps us out all the time. He's always around. He's always willing to give some opinions on stuff, and he's huge. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I think
1,000%. There's a
400 and something saves. Best for only left-hander.
Right.
Yeah.
Number one. Come on.
Number one left-handed closer in the history of the game.
He's going to get in. I think he's going to get in with the Veterans Committee someday.
That's his only option at this point.
And I think we're going to have to do a little bit of political.
We have to do the PR. We have to do the talking on his behalf. Listen, I'm hopeful
Some
that
politicking.
if Billy Wagner gets in,
Yeah,
well, then there's no reason John Franco should
Right,
not be in that
right.
Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, well, thank you very much for
I love
coming
it.
by.
I appreciate
I
it.
hope you had a good time.
Yeah,
And thanks to Angelo for bringing you in.
this is great.
Great to see
Always
you, my
good to
man.
see you, Dom. See
And
you
we'll,
soon.
We'll talk, of course, daily.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, you wrapping up now?
Yeah, we'll be right
No, I'll hang on.
Okay, great. All right, I'm stuck back in here. Thanks, Chris, for coming down. We appreciate that. That was, listen, Angelo Gagliano, you don't get more Italian than me. So
Yeah.
this is a great.
Hey, you're a media guy. You never know. Maybe someday you might get an award for us.
Maybe, but the heritage is also very important, right? It's something that I teach my kids to be proud of your heritage.
You know what? You're right, Ange. And you know what? The generations of today, they're not really into that Italian stuff like, what we were. You know what I mean?
Right.
They do because of us. We keep them, but I'm hoping that they continue that tradition.
Right. And it's going to take a village, right? It's going to take Chris. It's going to take Coach Scala. My broadcast here tonight, right, to educate those that be proud of who you are, right?
Yeah.
Right. We're all Americans, but be proud of where your roots are.
Yes.
No matter what it is. My boys are half Italian, half Irish. Be proud of that. Okay. Be proud of that heritage.
And the other thing is, we have to continue to build upon it all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? We got to continue to keep at it because we're a minority.
Right.
Italians are a minority.
Sure.
I think. I
Sure.
mean, they talk about Spanish, they talk about Puerto Rican, and they are too. But so are we.
Right.
So are we. But again, what you just said is very important.
Right.
We're all Americans.
Right.
We're not Democrats. We're not Republicans.
Right.
We're not conservatives. We're Americans.
Right.
That's what we are.
And nothing speaks more volumes than our love for California right now. The citizens of California are facing a devastation out there. So, again, keep them in your prayers. We're going to wrap it up. I am indebted to you, Coach Scala. Thank you so much. This is, for a guy that started this 4 years ago, I would have never thought I'd be sitting next to Dom Scala,
Oh no!
having Chris
me?
on the show, talking about baseball, my passion. You guys all know how much I love baseball and the New York Mets.
This guy here is a genuine guy. Let me tell you, to his fans out there, he's a little crazy with the Mets. I get that. You know what I mean?
A
But
little bit.
but that's all right. That's all right. It's passion.
Right.
It's passion.
Right.
But let me just say this. I was happy to come out here tonight. Your friends are great. We had a nice dinner. We had a nice cigar. We had one drink. That's all, just one drink. That's all I had. Okay, I shouldn't say that on the air.
That's all right. We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, I'm gonna have a little water now.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of water.
I'm fine. I'm fine. But let me just say, my pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And I love you. You know that.
I appreciate you. I love you too, Coach. Thank you. It's been Angie's Angles, come to you live from Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue. Come on down. You'll never know who you run into. Good night. God bless. I love you.